Log one. So turns out I just recorded for 40 minutes and none of it was recorded. But you know what? It's good because now you get like a nice simplified thing of everything I went through without all the BS, really. Okay, so basically what I was saying is I wanted to show you like my Zella journey and when I started tape reading and just kind of give you like a deeper breakdown into my trading. But I'm kind of glad that the video got cut because, or the video wasn't recording properly because 30 minutes is really too long. So I'm gonna just sum it up in like 5-10 minutes and then just show you my this week's logs. So 2022, I started watching ICT mentorship, which led into my journey of logging with TradeZella. And you can see 2023, I kind of started creating these folders and roadmaps. So, one thing you'll find in my analysis is weekly roadmaps, always on Sunday. That's my analysis. And that basically establishes things that I was already aware of on Sunday and that I referred throughout the week. So if basically like my thought process is if you know about it on Sunday, then there's no reason why you shouldn't kind of have known about it by on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That kind of just so weekly roadmaps, you can see they're kind of starting to change as we go. All right, so more logs. You can see that I'm starting to watch levels now, annotating them, price levels. That was kind of the idea was I was checking these off as they were getting met. So you can see some of them are checked off, some of them are not. Some of them are also pretty inconsistent. This is not the most consistent basis, but you can see also that 2023, I was creating a lot of logs, a lot of consistency. So this is one that I actually showed in the previous one. I went through and I read everything. So this one, the blue was a real-time annotation. This was a recap. These are all the levels that I was watching. 1 hour, 15, 1 minute. I watch things like monthly, weekly, and daily highs and lows. So that's one thing. New week opening gaps, new day opening gaps, first presentation gaps, all daily fair value gaps, everything. May 2nd of 2024, tape reading. So I'm kind of just going through annotating a lot. Like I mean, not that like this was a daily thing, but yeah. Okay, May 3rd, just going into it. All right, I'm just gonna go random May 7th. You can see there might be inconsistencies, all right? So I basically summed it up. So, bada boom, kind of like learning in the process. 2024. You can see there's charts. These are updates, logs, everything. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. You understand weekly candle projections, like incorporating all these different things and ways to just understand the market. Trying to basically like at this point, like the reason why I did this, I'm looking at this log right now, and someone would be like, why do you have so many different things? Because at the time I had so many different ideas and ways to express my analysis and my thoughts. So this one, I used to explain everything to my mom. Sometimes I still do, but then I was like, you know what? When I explained this to my mom, I talk for so long. So if I had to sum it up in one sentence, and one sentence only, then what would be the best way? And like kind of like giving like a signal in the sentence. But dollar to 103,941, then if animated to 103,879. So I can go here and I don't have like the bullish bias thing, but weekly bias, I guess I didn't put it here because at that time, I don't know, no clue really. Such a long time ago, fam. But you can see I'm looking lower first target, then second target, and then at the end of the week over here, if you look, it did go down there, and then if animated, it didn't get down there, but then it went all the way up here. But I still remember like looking at this and logging this and still finding like a great hefty deal of opportunity. Like these logs are really important to me. Okay, so like S&P will retrace to 49.97 and 3/4, but I believe the meat of the move will occur higher as a short-term objective. And current draw on liquidity, considering the current time and price where the market is met right now, I like 49.97 objective lower. And then you can see we did trade eventually lower to that target. So basically the thing was, I was just looking as long as where we were the week before, and then I have a target and it touches that, like that was a success for me. And just reading a draw on liquidity. So like simplifying things. Right, so looking for the same draw on NASDAQ. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go through today's. And so I have 2026 weekly roadmaps, 2025. But right now, the way I'm doing it is a week 23. That's this week. Okay, right here. NFP we had, and my weekly dollar index bias. So now on the weekly roadmaps, it's a little different. I'm just going to explain it because why not? This is post-week, and then I have a pre-week. So pre-weekly dollar index bias. You can see I was bearish, and then most important, weekly bullish. So the idea is every end of the trading session, I should just get a screenshot of the monthly, daily, and then weekly charts and update them. As you can see, I only did one for Sunday because I was just planning on doing it on Sunday and basically Friday today or Saturday. All right, so after the weekly roadmap, then I have daily logs, and so daily logs, context Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, think filler. Honestly, I just don't have like a lot of time, so no, actually that's an excuse. I do have the time, it's just I'm not consistent. I work 40 hours a week. Realistically, I spend like maybe 5-10 hours a week with my dog, like at least an hour or two. 5-10 hours a week at the gym. Obviously, like aiming for 8 hours of sleep a day. So that's like another 35 to 40 hours. So you only have 160 hours in the day, and so whatever I'm remaining with, that's what I'm trying to do and squeeze in time for trading now. Okay, so it's not that I have never like ever been able to make time for trading. It's just that recently, with all just the responsibilities, it's harder to find and allot time for trading, especially because I have fallen out of routine. So I'm trying to get back in routine now. Okay. So Thursday. Sorry if I'm here to save your time and not waste your time. I was genuinely just thinking sending you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and just saying like, can you take a look and let me know what to do better. But the thing is that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is kind of just like empty. There's not as many logs, and I'll explain right now. So Monday, let's say if you're to look at Monday, this is what you would see. You would see prep and game plan, ES, NQ, dollar. So these are my three kind of mains. Okay, sum it up as short as possible. ES is the instrument I trade. NQ is something I always watch on the side when I'm tape reading as like connection to ES, and then dollar is just something I always have on the side as well. I have 3 monitors, so these are like the 3 symbols I'm always watching on my chart, but ES is always the one I trade. Economic events, ISM at 10 a.m., so that was Monday. Daily/weekly bias outlined in the weekly roadmap. Too long, don't want to read. This was like kind of like I was thinking like, okay, I'll send this to you, and then you will be able to see this instead of having to refer back to the weekly roadmap. Bullish on ES and NQ, bearish on dollar. Bearish on dollar going into Monday's trading. Market line in the sand. Going into New York or AM, I liked 35.9700, so that was to the upside on NQ. And then post IB settlement, I like the idea of double break on ES. Genuinely not sure what that meant. Okay. I do remember trying to watch a double break on ES. Game plan, didn't even fill that in, so I'm just going to delete that. Session log, I'll keep that there. No, I don't know. I'll delete it maybe. Here, didn't fill all of this in. You'll see. Like I said, filler. I just put in a few logs. Today I woke up and saw we had formed the IB high, or the IB. I wanted to see the IB low broken because of how we were consolidating inside the middle of the range formed by the IB, which conflicted my initial weekly bias. I had wanted to see an IB double break, but the IB high was broke 11:30 a.m., attacking relative equal highs and trading to the premium imbalance above marketplace. So basically, it was about this point in time after the IB had settled that I wanted to see it go down and then eventually trade up to the high, but it never did so. It actually started consolidating around that daily fair value gap, which is not marked here, but it should be. But like I said, that's a level that's outlined in the weekly roadmap. So consolidated and then attack the buy side right there at like 11:31, 11:32, I think it was. And then traded up to the consequent encroachment of that old premium imbalance. Okay, so that's Monday. Tuesday, you're going to see that slowly the logs are going to start improving day by day. And that's once again just kind of trying to get into the routine of things. I don't have the clearest memory, like I was saying. Okay, wait, sorry. Let me start from scratch. Start from the beginning. Hey, I'm testing out voice to text. Oh wow, this is very cool. Anyways, Tuesday. This is using the benefit of hindsight. I was remaining bullish from Sunday's analysis. I don't have the clearest memory of what I was watching exactly, but I do remember remaining with my bullish bias in my head. I'm trying to warm up to tape reading and logging honestly right now and trying to stay consistent. Tuesday, nothing. You can see all of this is my own personal template. So I put it in here because I thought I was going to be able to do it, but time ran short and then I just couldn't. So you'll see Thursday I did though. And that's my goal. Like that routine is what I found to be pretty rewarding for me. Okay, ES NQ dollar. Nothing in here. Nothing in here. Nothing in here. This is also kind of when I'm starting to explore these. Like I'm like, oh, okay, like reading this and then thinking, okay, so it was more like this. Like on Monday and Tuesday, I'm thinking, oh, as I go further into the week, I should probably start thinking about these things more, like these questions, like so I can answer them, and then that way going further into the future I'll be able to answer them because they'll be in my head while I was watching the market. So that's why I also didn't fill them out right now. Thursday and Friday I didn't trade those days because non-farm payroll, and then also because I didn't trade that I had more time to log. All right, Thursday, ES NQ dollar. Thursday, unemployment claims, NFP news tomorrow. Stay clear after Wednesday New York AM session, so don't trade Thursday and Friday. And then based on higher time frame, I'm expecting a run higher considering the 9:30 AM opening below the daily fair value gap from 5/28/2026. Mentioned from weekly roadmaps, I like to target old higher time frame fair value gaps if we open below significant key levels by using the IB and targeting the high, so it's like a confluence. All right, so my line in the sand where I want to see ES trade to as a target is the daily fair value gap 5/28/26 low, and that would be 75.70 and 3/4. I would not like to see ES trade below the IB low, as that would invalidate the idea for me. All right, session log. This was I think this was like 10 minutes after I closed out my session. And Friday's logs. Now, so Friday, I'm going to be honest, is going to be my highest or my proudest. I take the most pride in Friday's log out of this week, just because, I don't know, it's easier to log at the end of the week, but I would like to fix that, and I want to set Friday as this week's standard going into next week. So if I were to pick my favorite day of logging, it would be Friday because I had the exact symbols I was watching and using in my analysis. So ES, dollar, VIX, MU I looked at, and then I had the economic events. Daily, weekly bias. So any higher time frame levels I was watching were the daily order block. So that's a level I had on my chart. So any daily, weekly, or monthly levels, mostly daily, I really only have like 2 or 3 of each, just because those are levels that are highly significant to me, and I like to keep them in my mind, and I like to keep them short, easy to remember, as simple as possible. So daily order block, 5/7/26. So that's that right here, and the daily fair value gap. That's that right here. So those were the 2 levels I had on my chart from a daily chart. Yeah, those were 2 levels that I had on my chart from a daily chart. You can see this volume imbalance I did not have in my weekly analysis, and I did not put it here because it was not something I was looking at until right here. You'll see line in the sand. My line in the sand today was surely the daily fair value gap from here. Once we failed to hold that, basically right here, once we failed to hold it right here when we closed below it, next reasonable draw on liquidity on the daily was the daily volume imbalance. So here, but this was not something I was watching. And so at this point on Friday was kind of an outlier day for me because I was looking for the continuation higher above that new week opening gap. But you can see we come and touch the low, at least on this image. That's what it looks like. Not sure if it's to the tick. We open and then we just smash lower. But basically what I'm saying is that once we came back down here in the overnight session, we should have seen a bounce higher for any continuation, to this previous day high, but we did not do so. And the really only, what I mean by next reasonable draw on liquidity is within range, 40 to 50 handles. It's close to the previous day low. And then the daily order block, even though I had it annotated from the beginning of the week, is a exceptional runner and outlier case is what I mean. This range, you can see it doesn't repeat often, but when it does, it's pretty cool. All right, so now this part, the market did not, so end of day performance recap. The market did not follow my exact narrative from the beginning of the week. So from this open to where we are now, not the narrative I was looking for, but Monday and Tuesday, as you can see, we held around the new week opening gap, which is where we initially opened on Sunday. We did go up initially Monday and Tuesday, then fell lower from the daily fair value gap, BISI 5/28/2026 right here. That's this blue shaded, and settled below it right here. So that is Wednesday's trading. We settled below it, so that gives us kind of the qualifier that this fair value gap has been quote unquote disqualified. It should not have a closing price on it on a daily chart. And you can see, even though we come back up and have a green up close candle, Friday's trading used to send lower. Okay, so we did not go up initially Monday and Tuesday, then fell lower below the daily fair value gap, BISI 5/28/26, and settled below it with a closing price. Thursday retraces back to new week opening gap, and Friday NFP used to cascade lower to the order block. Plus/minus, what did you wait for your setup? Did you size correctly? I tried to wait for my setup, but faced difficulty in remaining patient after dealing with a couple losses. As you can see, after 2 losses, there is no advantage in pushing your edge. However, on the flip hand, all my trades were sized correctly and following an ends model, which is a 5-handle stop. Behavioral leaks. I did not hesitate to push going long, as this is a well-performing strategy/behavior from the market. Typically, in my experience, when we fall lower, suddenly we end up reversing back higher, tried and tested. As I said, this was somewhat of an outlier day that I cannot expect to anticipate my first week back of trading. And And if you could go back to 9:30 a.m., what is one piece of advice you give yourself? This week, I did not wake up in time at all to watch the markets. Found myself waking up probably 30 minutes before market open most days. Fitbit reference here. Boom, boom, boom. And then honestly, finding a lack of will to hop on screen for give or take 30 minutes. Considering I have to get ready by 10 a.m. for my work, a reasonable time, Central Standard, would be 7 a.m. or earlier, giving me enough time to get ready for market prep. So that would be 8 a.m. Eastern time. Okay? And so that's it.